Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. We're going to be talking about Mercury in the third house in a natal chart. Now, first off, some of you may remember when I first started my YouTube astrology channel, I did a series on the Mercury placements in the houses. They were a little bit concise, and some people may have referred to them as snappy. So what I decided to do is make another series on them, in which the videos will be a little bit longer and descriptor. So anyway, first thing up, well, Mercury in the third house is like Mercury in Gemini. It's comparable to it, but naturally you got to blend in the zodiac sign with it. Mercury in the zodiac sign Cancer in the third house, for example, would be a lot different than Mercury in Aquarius in the third house. Now, also, Mercury in astrology, of course, is connected with communications. So when you have Mercury positive in the third house of natal chart, communications may be on, variety, manifold subjects. This person may talk about many different things, subjects, but may not learn a lot of them, fully. The thing is, this person may have extensive information but may lack depth in certain, subject areas. Now, the thing about this too, could be where a person will often communicate with cousins, siblings, neighbors. Um, there may have been more communication in one's early education than the average person. Communications may be mercurial, it might be where you have communication with one person for a little bit, and then you lose connection with him or her, and then you're talking to someone else extensively, so on and so forth. But you may do a lot of talking when you're traveling, short as far as short journeys may go, and also when you speak, it could be very witty, and people may enjoy conversing with you because of that. And you may be knowledgeable and communicate often, about vehicles as well. Mercury is also associated with assimilating information. So Mercury positive in third house, you may assimilate information very quickly about, you may absorb information regarding many different subjects. You may have ability to understand, many different concepts, many different subjects, and also, but can be superficial at times. Again, you may learn, a lot about, many different subjects, but you may have trouble sticking with them, fully, and because the mind may be restless with this placement. Now, another thing is that you may have more of a desire to learn and assimilate information during your early education, and you may be someone that really is enamored with learning, someone that can be very inquisitive and desire to to learn many different things. This could give a very this placement may give a very active and restless mind. Now, another thing about this placement is that Mercury is connected with analysis. So you may often, be analyzing, things maybe before you say it, or how you're going to verbalize and articulate, statements. And your analysis may be one, that's very eloquent. When you analyze things, it may be done in a very eloquent, articulate, verbose manner. It may be done very quickly as well, being in the third house of Gemini. Remember that this is when you have Mercury in the third house in the natal chart, it's in its accidental dignity, so it's still very good, placement for Mercury. Um, Now, as far as house goes, now the thing about this too is, and you may often analyze many different subjects, and even, your siblings, cousins, neighbors, whether it's them as people, as their personality or their actions, whatever it might be, you might find yourself trying to analyze them and figure them out, whatever it might be, connected with them. And also matters connected with short journeys, such as analyzing, well, how long is it going to take me to get there? How long does it take to get back? How long will I be at the store? Things of that nature. Now, a lot of people, many people may do that regardless of astrological placements, but it may be more emphasized with this one than most others. Mercury is also associated with siblings, cousins, and neighbors. So the thing about this is they may have figured, more prominently in your early education than most people. Short journeys matters with local transportation, and also you may be, these are people you may often communicate with a lot, and could be these people may also be very loquacious and mercurial, because you're talking about Mercury, which is over siblings, cousins, and neighbors, being in the third house of Gemini. But there may be certain instability with these connections as well, because the third house may very well be that most mercurial, unstable house of the zodiac. So, and these people may also be very witty and conversational as well. So now the next thing, Mercury is associated with short journeys. So as far as the short journeys go, sometimes they may be done for superficial reasons, superficial enjoyments. They may often involve siblings, cousins, and neighbors. You may find yourself communicating more than the average person during short trips. And it can be, as well, you may enjoy a manifold or variety of trips as well. You may get bored, going to the same place too much. You may disdain monotony in matters pertaining to short journeys. So this is, something to, when you have Mercury in astrology, also has a connection, because of the short journeys, it has a connection with driving and cars. So you may be someone, if you do drive, most people do, but if you do drive, you may have a thing for like the fast, quick cars. And, maybe as far as this goes as well, you may go through many changes of vehicles as well, because you are talking about the third house of, which corresponds with Gemini. It's about variety and diversity. And you may be somebody that has many different cars in some cases. If you're, especially if you're like a very, affluent person, you may be a person that has many different cars. But it could also be, where, you might feel, you might want, driving to be exciting. You may be very animated and vivacious when you are driving. You may be very knowledgeable about cars as well with this placement. It could be, I would say Mercury in the third house could be a good placement, for manual dexterity, and you may have an affinity or some ability to work on, vehicles. Mercury is also associated with the early education. So Mercury in the third house, can manifest in the early education, being one that may have been very mercurial. You may have found yourself going to many different schools. What's interesting, I have Mercury in the second house, but it's conjunct my third house from the second. And my mom put me in so many different schools when I was little, because she moved around frequently. And so I'm wondering, think that this might have had something to do with it. But the thing about it is, you may be someone that may have gone to many different schools, but during your early education, you may have been more inquisitive about subjects than the average person, talked a little more about them, expressed eloquence, things eloquently. When you want to say, for example, if you're talking with one of your teachers, ideas you may present, or, when you're answering a question that a teacher may have asked you in the classroom. And there may have been, more short journeys during your early education than the average person as well. Now, Mercury also is associated with the rational mind, rational thinking. So Mercury positive in the third house. Well, the rational thinking may be strongly impacted by siblings, cousins, neighbors, by the neighborhood you're in. It might be something where you more so than the average person, you may need to be, in some kind of certain, environment where you feel comfortable in, where you're more apt to think rationally, and also it could be too where the rational thinking may also be affected. If there's any kind of gossip or slander, that will that may involve you, that's negative. This might have more of an effect on your rational thinking than the average person. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.